So the budget policy, as we mentioned before, can be enabled or disabled. You don't have to use it if you don't want to. But what it does is it allows you to be able to set parameters for how many resources and how much utilization you're going to allow for particular lines of business. You can also even allow this to be able to, give the user the capability of even going over budget. If the budget is more of just a guideline and you're not using it as a hard and fast rule as far as how much money each one of the groups has, then you can allow those particular users to, use more resources than basically they have money for. So think of this almost as a charge card, if you will. But you also have the ability to be able to set it so it's very strict. So, if in the instance that they go to the budget and they're going to provision another virtual machine and it goes over budget, it will prevent that from happening. It will not allow them to provision another virtual machine until they either decommission something else and reduce the amount of money that they're quote unquote spending in their budget, or they petition to have the budget increased. You know how that stuff works. In addition, the ability to be able to tie these budgets to groups is a great way to be able to divide up the organization into logical entities. So lines of business can be attributed to a group. Those groups can have certain budget policies tied to them. So now let's go ahead and look at a demonstration of how this would work within the budget policy module itself. So in this particular demonstration, we're going to show how to deal with the budget control functions within UCS Director. So as we mentioned before, budgets are tied to groups. And in order to be able to make changes to that, we have to go into Administration, and then we go to Users and Groups, and then we go to the Groups tab. And then this particular listing is all the groups that are currently assigned to this particular cloud. When we think about the different groups, each one of them can have their own chargeback functions. They can have their own cost structures and all these different things. So in order to be able to enable those capabilities, you have the ability to be able to, set up each one of the groups to be able to have the characteristics that you're looking for based on the tenants that are going to be within it. So in this case, we're going to go here to Sales Group. We're going to edit the budget policy. The budget policy allows us to be able to enable that budget watch feature. So in this particular instance, what will happen now is the system will watch the budget to be able to determine whether or not the particular group has the money to be able to use the resources they're trying to use. So by selecting this, that's going to allow us to be able to then start that function. So those cost structures based on each virtual machine, resource utilization, all that would then start to be calculated. You also have the ability to be able to permit the particular group to go over budget. So if budgeting is more of a loose function within your organization and you want to continue to allow individuals to be able to use more capacity, maybe you got a situation where, they anticipated one thing, but they have a mechanism to be able to get more budget down the road to be able to help to offset some of that. And you don't want to stop the groups or the users from being able to, request new services. You can allow an over budget situation. So if you were to select that, that means that it's not going to, prevent any new virtual machines from being instantiated if the group is not out of budget, basically. Now, if you do have that selected, it would work that way. But if you don't have it selected, it's going to basically stop any VMs from being able to be created until the budget is changed. Now, there's another function here that you're seeing in this version. This is newer. This is one of the newer functions that we have in the latest release of UCS Director. Is we also have the ability to be able to shut down virtual machines if the particular group runs out of funds. So, as the run rate of a particular group, is leveraging different capabilities within the cloud. They're running their different services, but they run out of money, you have the ability to actually be able to shut down the virtual machines when they run out of funds. And there's a threshold amount where you can set where, it's not an immediate thing as soon as they hit it, but you can give them a little bit of a grace period. But once they hit that mark, if you had that particular item selected, it will shut down the virtual machines in that particular group. So a little bit more draconian, but some environments like to have that level of control where the budgeting is much more of a finite and fixed environment.